Hey guys, Mr. V here. How you doing? Coming at you from, well, a really weird angle, so I apologize for that. But trying to get creative with the camera. Want to get the whiteboard in the mix this time. So this is what we got. All right. So, hey, I was thinking, I was in a meeting the other day and we started talking about prioritization and how for some kids, while they understand that prioritization is an important concept, they struggle to know how to do it. And it got me thinking that, telling somebody that they need to prioritize their work is a concept I think that in general, on like a surface level, people understand what that means. But in terms of actually prioritizing and getting down to the nitty gritty and doing it, I'm finding that a lot of kids don't actually know how to prioritize. So that's what we're going to discuss today. All right. And I'm going to do it by discussing what I've found this on the internet actually, and I really liked it. So I'm going to try and teach it to you. It's called a prioritization matrix. And it's just a little graph here. And at the top, you'll see it says urgent, important, not urgent, and not important. And these are what we're referring to as tasks, right? Tasks, things that need to get done in your day, in your week, in your month, whatever. Urgent things, important things, not urgent things, and not important things. So, for example, if you have something that needs to be done that is both urgent and important, you're going to write it or put it up here. If you have something that you think is urgent, but not important, and I'm going to give you a couple examples. It'll go here. If you think you have something that's important to do, but it's actually not urgent, but it's important but not urgent, boom, right here. And then if it's not important and it's not urgent, it probably doesn't need to be done, not anytime soon at least, and it goes here. And I'm going to give you some examples. Now here, this is an easy one. Tonight's homework, right? Tonight's homework. Well, that's pretty urgent. It's tonight and it's important. So tonight's homework, boom, right there. Making up missing work, right? Well, that depends, right? We're prioritizing here. So making up missed work is important no matter what. But in this particular instance, you have a 65 in the class, and there's only a couple weeks left in the quarter. So making up missing work for a class you're on the border of failing, and there's only 5 weeks, yeah, this is urgent and important. Creating flashcards. So I guess that means there's a test, right? So you're going to create flashcards to study. But look, the test is next week. You still got at least 10 days until the test. So in my opinion, I would say that this is important, right? But it may not be quite as urgent as some other things. So we're going to put that here. Highlighting your notes, another great way to study. But again, there's no immediate test coming. All right, so important but not urgent. Skate park with your friends. Okay, certainly it's important. I mean, I don't know how to put this. I mean, is this an urgent thing? I don't know. Probably it's not so urgent. So I would say it goes down here. Is it important? Yes, right? I mean, it's important to be social and have balance in your life. But in terms of prioritizing your things to do list, I'm going to put it over here. And you can certainly disagree, but I'm going to say this isn't so important in the grand scheme of what needs to get done. And it's definitely not an urgent thing. Your friends can wait. Responding to a group text. Now, this one, I'm going to put it up here because it feels urgent. Right? That phone dings and it feels urgent and you feel like you need to respond to it for sure. But the truth is, it's not actually that important. And so I'm going to put it up in here. Feels urgent, but not important. Still in the not important side. Email teacher about a homework or a project, and you need clarification on something. Now, this homework or project, it says, is due tomorrow, which makes this urgent and important, if you ask me. Now, making up missing work. Now, we talked about missing work. In fact, right here, making up missing work in a class that we were almost failing, we put it up here in urgent and important. But this one says, making up missing homework, and the homework's only worth 2 points. Now, remember, I'm not saying this isn't important, but we are trying to prioritize. So, yes, making up all missing work is important, but it's 2 points. We're going to put it in the not so urgent category. On the other hand, making up a missing 10-point assignment, that, in my opinion, in terms of prioritization, because remember, they're both important, but in terms of how to prioritize these, this one's worth 10 points. I'm putting it here. 5 weeks left, 4 weeks left in the quarter. I'm going to put it there. And you're going to know the point value of your homeworks by looking at the portal, right? Let's see. You're 5 chapters behind in a book that you're reading in English. In my opinion, that's urgent and important because the further you get behind, the harder it's going to be. Here, another missing work one, right? We've talked about missing work. It's important. But in this class, you have a 90 average and you're missing an assignment. All right? Now, where do you prioritize that? Do you prioritize that over doing the homework for the night or studying for the test tomorrow? Probably not. You're doing so well in this class. While it is important, it is not what I would call urgent. Organizing your binder. This is important, but not urgent. This is one of those things we get lost in when we're trying to avoid these things, right? It's a lot easier to organize our binder than it is to make up that 10-point assignment. And if we did that, it would probably not be the best way to prioritize. Let's see. Making up a missing test. We know tests are high point values, right? 100 points usually. If we have a 0 in the grade book for a test, that's a killer. So I'm going to put that urgent and important. Let's see. YouTube, Netflix, where does this go? I mean, on one hand, you might say it's not important and not urgent. On the other hand, it might feel urgent. One way or the other, it's not a very important task, even though we need this downtime. It feels urgent, but it's not very important, I'm going to say. Playing Roblox. Again, pick where you want it. You might, I'm going to go with not important and not urgent. We'll find time for that after when we can. Emailing a teacher about clarification on a homework or project that is not due for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Now, in my opinion, you've got to get that clarification, right? But you've got 2 weeks to do this. Now, I'm not saying you should procrastinate, but it certainly shouldn't be put above making up a missing test. So important, not urgent. Practicing our instrument, and there's no concert looming. There's no concert coming around the corner. So instrument practice. Hey, instrument practice is important. Staying up on that is important. But there's no concert coming, right? So if you're in a position where you have a bunch of tasks that are urgent and important, this might fall a little bit into the important but not urgent territory. Being on time. Hey, we have to make time for that. That's important. That's urgent and important. We have to make time for that. Let's see. Emailing a teacher about the final exam. Kids love doing this, right? It's January. The final's in June. You're okay. You don't need that answer. Not important, not urgent. That's a procrastination technique. Let's see. Oh, this one's great. Redecorating your room. This is like the ultimate procrastination technique, right? You got 20 million things to do, but instead you're over there reorganizing your dresser drawer or something. So redecorating your room, I'm going to go ahead and say not important, not urgent. Preparing for the next day, making sure you have everything you need in your backpack and your homework's in there. That's important. That has to happen daily. Signing up for X period, important, urgent. Studying for a test. Now, this test happens to be tomorrow, not in 2 weeks. Boom, right there. Okay, so now you can take a look at what you have on your matrix here, and you know exactly where to start. Boom, right here. Now, the fun thing about this is as you get these things done, you just pluck them off the wall. Boom. You pluck them off the wall. Maybe you do a couple of those things right there. Boom. And it starts to thin out. Now, one thing you need to realize is that over the course of the week, this is going to change, right? So, for example, flashcards for a test next week, which is now important and not urgent, after a couple days, and that test starts to get closer, if you haven't had the time to address this, it might travel up here. It might become something that travels up here, right? Um, but this is nice because you can have a little fun with it. On any given day, you might say, you know what, tonight I'm going to do these two things, and I'm going to take this one from the not urgent but important list, and I'm going to go do it. And you could take your three stickies back to your desk, and you're focused on these three things. These are your priority for the night. And if you get them done and you still have some time left and some energy, then come back up to the board, and maybe at that point, then maybe come over here or maybe come down here. Or you might say, you know what, I still got some real strong energy. I'm gonna hit off one of these things that are really important. And like I said, this will change over the course of the week, and hopefully, these things start to come off the board. These things will start to come up because they'll become urgent if you don't do them over time. New things will end up on the board. And so, this is one way that you could prioritize. You could put this tape up on your wall and have a little fun with it. Use different color stickies for different subject areas if you want. There's a lot of ways to be creative. So prioritization 101, baby, right here. I definitely want to hear your feedback. Let me know if this is something that you think that you would try, or even maybe you're doing it. Or if you have your own way of doing it, your own way of prioritizing, I definitely want to hear about it. So leave it in the comments. Let me know you saw this video. Let me know you liked it. Stay motivated.